Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Beeman, coordinator for the Capital District Clean Communities Coalition. I'm here this morning with one of our staff members, Jen Saponis, to talk about her BMW i3 electric vehicle and some of the differences between driving this and a traditional gasoline vehicle. Typically during National Drive Electric Week, we like to do in-person drive-alongs to get some of our members in the driver's seats of electric vehicles. This week, however, we're going to do a series of virtual events to try to help promote the adoption of electric vehicles in the Capital District.
Hi, I'm Jen Saponis from Capital District Clean Communities, and I'm here to tell you about my electric vehicle, which is a BMW i3. Right now it's plugged in to a level 2 charging station outside of Schenectady City Hall, which uses a J1772 plug. This is universal on all level 2 charging stations and can work on all electric vehicles.
What type of charger are we using here, Jen?
So this is a ChargePoint charger, and again it's a level 2. You can get about 18 to 25 miles of battery range per hour of charge.
And how many miles can you get all electric with this car?
With my car, I can get about 117 all electric miles.
So Jen, this has a gasoline range extender, right, to add to the electric vehicle range?
That's right, Jacob. It has a 2.3 gallon gas tank, small gas tank, that will extend the range by about 75 miles. So in the case that I do run out of battery, I have that backup gas to get me to the next EV charging station.
Nice. And about, how far can this get you on all electric power on a typical trip?
So on just the battery, fully charged, I can typically get from my home in Albany to Saratoga Springs and back. I can also get to about Queensbury, recharge there at one of their fast charge stations, and then get all the way to Racket Lake in the Adirondacks. So that's almost 200 miles, and it's a pretty easy trip.
That's great. How would you say the seating capacity is in this vehicle? I know it's pretty small, but you can still fit a lot in it, right?
That's right. So it's a pretty small vehicle. It looks small on the outside. It can seat 4 passengers, and the legroom is pretty great. I have a young son, and his car seat fits well in the back, and he can even invite a friend along, or we can take a trip and fill the trunk. So I felt that it has enough space for people and all of your gear that you might need for a short trip. So this is the level 1 charger that came with my vehicle. I can store it in the front storage compartment here, and then if I get to my destination and there's no charging, but I do have access to a 120 volt outlet, I can take this out, plug it in, and then plug in my vehicle. At home, I plug this into a outlet on my porch, and I can plug it in my driveway, and it charges fully overnight. It does take about 8 hours to fully charge the battery, but at home it works really well because it can charge overnight and I can get to work in the morning without any problem. And it's always good to have it in case of emergency, where if you get somewhere and there is no charging available, you can just plug in where it's convenient. So this is the dash of my electric vehicle. And as you can see on the bottom, it shows you how many miles you can go both on the range extender gas tank and the electric battery. The bottom left is the range extender gas tank, and on the right is the battery. So it says that I have about 105 miles. I can also change the driving mode to an Eco Pro mode, which limits how fast I can go and which amenities in the vehicle I can use, like the seat warmers or maximum air conditioning. Or I can go even further and do Eco Pro Plus, which is the most conservative use of the battery, and each mode increases the amount of battery range you have available. Today I'm going to drive in Eco Pro because I find that to be the best use of my battery.
So Jen, in Eco Pro mode, can you still use features like air conditioning and heat?
Yes, so I can still use the air conditioning, I can use the seat warmers, I can use the heat, and what Eco Pro mode does is limit how fast I can go. So the faster you drive, the quicker the battery is used. The Eco Pro Plus mode limits me from going over 50 miles per hour and from using my air conditioning and seat warmer. So it really conserves the battery.
So Jen, in the wintertime when you have to run the heat, how much does that usually affect the battery life?
So the heat definitely affects the battery range. What I found is if I plug my vehicle in and start the car while it's still plugged in, I can warm my car with the battery while it's being charged. So that really reduces the impact on my range. The smaller the shorter the battery range, the more impact there will be. But for the most part, it doesn't affect my ability to get to point A to point B or where I need to go on a daily basis.
So Jen, this vehicle has regenerative braking, right? That adds to the range of the vehicle as you drive?
So that's true. In stop and go traffic, when you are not driving very much, the braking and stopping actually recharges the battery. So even though we have driven several miles from Schenectady City Hall, where we started, with 108 miles, I currently have 107 miles because of all of the stop and go traffic out of the city. Going downhill, when you take your foot off of the gas, the vehicle recharges. When the vehicle stopped, it can also recharge. So depending upon the type of driving you're doing, your commute, you can use less battery.
So Jen, what kind of maintenance benefits have you seen since having the i3?
We've saved a lot of money on maintenance. There's so little to do. There's no oil, so no oil changes. The only thing we've had to do is add windshield wiper fluid, replace our windshield wipers, and replace tires. So there's very little maintenance. Every once in a while there is a software upgrade that can be done by the dealer. So it's been pretty easy and really low cost.
And overall, how do you like driving it? It's a pretty good handling car.
It's a very good handling car. I like driving it because the braking is really great. As soon as you let off of the gas, it begins braking. You do need to get used to it a little bit, but it's very quick braking, very responsive. One of my favorite things about it is how quickly it gets up and can go. So next to another big vehicle, you can really maneuver and get around the corners well.
And very quiet as well. Really enjoyable.
There's no noise, no vibration. Really enjoyable, comfortable drive.
So Jen, on your daily trips, where do you typically find charging infrastructure?
I've never had a problem finding charging infrastructure locally. I find charging at a lot of the grocery stores in the capital region. I have found them at gyms. I have found them at several restaurants and definitely office buildings, and some even apartment buildings throughout the region have publicly accessible level 2 charging.
And are there typically fees associated with those stations around town?
A lot of the level 2 charging stations are currently free to use of charge. Some stations, for example, at our office, do charge the user, but usually it's no more than a couple of dollars to recharge your vehicle for about 4 to 6 hours.
So Jen, do you want to walk us through how you finish up your trip and plug back in?
Sure. So this is a ChargePoint station, and I'm using my ChargePoint app to locate the station and initiate charging. So the app will communicate with the charging station, and as soon as they connect, this will unlock.
And once it's plugged in, how do you know that you're charging?
So I can either look in my app and it'll show me that my vehicle is charging and about how many miles I'm getting per minute or per hour. I can also see on my car there is a light that is blinking blue, and while it is charging it will continue to blink. When it is fully charged, it turns to green. Also, the charging station will give you the information on charging. If you don't have a ChargePoint account or a card or the app, it's really easy to set it up on the spot. The screen will give you information, or there's a phone number that you can call and someone will walk you through and help you activate the charging station. So it's never really a problem, even if you don't already have an account or something set up with ChargePoint. If you don't have a smartphone, you can use ChargePoint will send you an RFID card, which works similarly. You hold it to the station and it activates the charging.
And if you don't have a ChargePoint app, are there other apps that you use to locate charging stations around the region?
To find a station near you, visit the Department of Energy's Alternative Fuel Data Center, where you will find an alternative fuel station locator. That includes all the electric vehicle charging stations as well as other alternative fuel stations near you. To compare vehicles that you might be interested in, you can go to fueleconomy.gov.